was.
Will this
It
series
definitely was.
be a similar fiesta? Will we see a Blitzcrank grab onto a Tahm Kench under turret at level 2? And that was only the tip of the iceberg.
Well, I really hope we do, because we've got Mad Life on the other desk, Papa Smithy. It would be absolutely perfect.
And last time we had Mad Life on the desk was in spring season. You'll remember on that day, Ignar, who plays in our second series, played Blitzcrank. So hopefully somebody looks up, sees Mad Life, and gets a little bit frisky with the robot.
Well, we are into Champion Select here, guys. If you hadn't noticed, Rakan is going to be banned away first, with the Braum being the follow-up ban, and Hanwha have been utilizing the Braum mid for their funnel strategies, so not going to see it this time.
And Hanwha's banning one of Kingzone and SK Telecom's funnels in the mid lane and jungle Xayah Rakan duo, the funneling Xayah in that particular case. So seems like they wanted to get a bit more standard. What would that mean for very contested picks? Because something like an Ezreal could become contested if we see Hanwha Life also wanting to go the marksman route, and Cuz will draw a Camille ban. Respect ban shown for his great performance in Game 2 against SKT.
In fact, 100% of the bans drawn by Cuz here at the start of this, if you're going off their last series.
True.
So not going to be able to play what he played in back-to-back games.
Pool's gone.
Yeah, Champion Pool is completely eradicated. Talia, though, is going to continue a 100% status. This time on the bench, not going to have a second game on this patch for the Talia. Of course, she was very, very powerful when we saw her, so it does make a lot of sense.
And you know what? Both of the secondary champions are involved with and against funnels. Talia pushing in a funnel comp is very strong, and Camille being able to ult someone like a Kai'Sa really makes them frustrated. They're trying to use all the gold and experience you get in funneling.
Wow.
Aatrox is now becoming a first-round ban because Faker and then Yukal have shown that mid-lane Aatrox, even with teleport, can be very fearsome. What about the Morgana? That one is the one that I'm the most surprised.
What about the Shen? What about the Nocturne? There's so many things that have been left up.
And that's what happens when Hanwha Life on blue side can say, we don't want you to do the crazy stuff. The more standard stuff is going to come through. So Morgana, Ezreal, some of these other big picks are open. The Shen can be first picked. It's been falling down a little bit. We've seen Shen make it to second round a handful of times. The Zoe also is available with Nocturne banned, and that becomes popular. Morgana priority for roaming supports can be very, very big. We saw BDD and Gorilla duo laning Morgana Blitzcrank in that series against SKT. But with all those things considered, Zoe will be the first pick, and to me that's risky because BDD has shown the most champions against the Zoe. We know he plays LeBlanc. He was the one to debut the Echo counter pick.
Yeah.
While both of those are a little bit to the left of the meta, the Swain, which is also a flex pick, is right in the middle of the meta.
Yeah, not going to be picking up the Morgana. I thought that Morgana Shen could actually come out here, just roll out that bottom lane again like Griffin showed was so incredibly powerful. But this time around it's Kingzone, it's Gorilla instead of Lehens, and maybe he wants to go to something else.
And it could also be something like a Swain Alistair in the bottom
who would
lane.
have thought that we've got Trundle versus Sejuani?
Oh no, again. I feel like this is every game. If you see a Sejuani, you don't have that same pressure in order to make things happen, so why not go to Trundle, be able to path around and be very similar.
Yep, Morgana, a bit of a no-brainer here for Hanwha Life as well. Not really locking themselves into any sort of strategy at the moment either. That is certainly very flexible, and it is going to be locked in. So Hanwha keeping everything up in the air at the moment.
What does this mean for Kingzone? They should have expected that this would happen. Yasuo, pick for BDD, you would imagine, was taken. Seen Khan play it also.
Don't know whether Prey would play it. Would be a question mark.
You know what we do? We do know who really likes to play the Aurelia, so it seems like BDD will be going on the matchup that he lost the reverse matchup of to Chovy, you'll remember, in the series against Griffin earlier this week. So maybe a point to prove for BDD to both his old Hyung and Mad Life, who is casting on the Korean broadcast, but also to the world that he is not the sort of player to take that loss to Chovy lying down. Kingzone will actually be the ones to ban Ezreal, and that makes you wonder where, in fact, the Swain is going, because with the Aurelia lock-in, it seems like Swain for Prey is actually what's going to happen.
And they could also flex these around. Aurelia can go to the bottom side of the map if they want Prey to play it, but it's not necessarily what you feel a Prey champion would be. It's like to have a bit of range. But we'll see. Hanwha Life still trying to work out what they want to ban, and I can understand why they'd be confused. They're looking for the lane that they can target, and it seems like the support pool is going to be it. Soraka going to be the first ban.
Does make you wonder if it will be Morgana's support, because Soraka's support does beat Morgana's support, but when you have AP rolled in, it's a little bit harder outside of very early levels for the support Soraka to take down the bot lane carry Morgana.
Barris going to be banned here by Kingzone as well. Ash sort of standing out. Ash and Lucian going to be the 80 carries that I sort of have on my mind for Hanwha Life if they do want to go that route. Of course, Kai'Sa's still there. Bit of a favorite for Sangyun.
And I believe the second game of the night is the 400th for Prey, so I wonder if his Ash will come out in either of the games of this series. So it is a milestone series for Prey.
Ooh, Pyke.
Pyke will be banned. You see Morgana and you think, okay, it's going to be a Morgana carry and you can roam around. But it's actually a Pyke ban towards Kingzone, not wanting to deal with even more pick pressure after what they've got. But that means Shen is open, Shen is flexible. We've seen Cuz already be able to be very aggressive with the Shen support. Now we're just waiting on that information of where the Swain and the Irelia are going and what that means for Prey's champion.
I just feel like with the Shen there, it does point the finger towards Swain being on the bottom side. That lane feels a heck of a lot better than the Irelia Shen, but we don't necessarily know just yet. Sangyun considering the Vladimir. A lot of 80 carries have hit the bench for him, but Mundo for Linderung is going to be locked away, and I believe, if my memory serves, that he does have a pretty decent win record. This particular top laner, and Lucian available here for Sangyun if he wants to take it.
2-0 on the Mundo, like you mentioned. No Aatrox available to try to bust it, and we're trying to work out who is going to be going top side, because I don't think Swain or Irelia particularly want to face the Mundo. Vladimir for Sangyun, been a very common pick this season, won't be going for the Lucian, so no marksman in this comp. Answer, what's going on in terms of these lanes? How about a lane counter to the Mundo? How about a Darius?
Yep, Khan going to be taking the Darius, and I like to see him on more aggressive picks, but 10 seconds to go, still could switch it over to his Jace if he wanted to. Definitely a lot of options here for Kingzone, but you can see he's been pretty quiet, made up his mind. Darius going to be the lock-in for the Kingzone roster. So, just to find out where this Swain is going to be going is the last thing that we're going to wait for, but it looks like he will be on the bottom side, as we mused earlier on.
Given that Zoe versus Irelia is one of our most played mid lane matchups, and Aurelia's damage reduction makes her more able to take paddle stars, you do expect this will be the final way. Kind of surreal for Prey, so close to a milestone to be playing something very far away from his standard Ezreal, but seems like it's going to be that bot lane Swain. We've seen the Talia and Shen be a one rotation duo. It may not be one rotation, but those Swain and Shen CC chains and even just burst damage are pretty fearsome as well.
And if you add a Sejuani into that, you've just got CC for days coming out of everywhere. So I do like the idea, but it's just going to be that classic caster off on the bottom side, and Hanwha Life have Kingzone fans out in force today already.
Holding up their cheerfuls, I imagine we'll get a camera shot on them. Holding up their cheerfuls for Prey. Reaches 400 games today. Big milestone for one of the most famous players around. We'll start with the Hanwha Life cheerfuls. Yep. I believe that's Sangyun's parents.
They've got certainly some guaranteed Sangyun fans in the audience today.
400th day anniversary for good old Hanlabong, now named Khan.
Yeah.
On the team of Kingzone. I just did some mental maths and worked out that one. I was less reading comprehension, more, okay, that's probably right.
Yep, that would make sense. But it's certainly still, there's 400s everywhere. It's the 400 day for Kingzone DragonX. Right, or value.
What kind of milestone will it be, Atlas? What we're going to find out.
Mm-hmm.
Life Esports walking bot side, and yes, 400 games for Prey. It might even be in game number 1. I believed he was 1 away, but certainly in this series, and with that big clap, I believe that's the confirmation that 400 games in of all champions, it's Prey's first game on Swain.
Well, he's going to have a duo lane here as Gorilla finally turns up, but no aggression here from the key Sangyun lane. Has been a style of composition that Hanwha Life have shown a lot of prowess with. Against MVP, they were playing much similar to this, made it look very, very good. Kingzone sort of feel like playing their game slightly as Lava. A fair bit of damage here from BDD.
Early level 2 into a Q dive was what happened there. Someone and Cuz find each other. Remember,
My
Cuz is
God,
squishy.
yeah, we've only got a couple of auto attacks left. There it is, the flash over the smite. Not going to be enough. First blood to Songwon. The First Blood King strikes at 2.5 minutes in the game.
They put down a level 1 ward to the duo lane, and then Songwon just punks Cuz and kills him. Man, that was some aggressive stuff. But press the attack, level 2 Trundle. Got the first auto, nowhere to run away to. Cuz goes down.
Well, this is a disastrous start for the guy that has been the protection here for Kingzone. You know, when Peanut looks like he's not necessarily having the best time on the Rift, Kaz is expected to come in and make things work, but it's Songwon that's getting the work done here. Nice stun to stop anything else onto BDD. Does keep his flash there, of course, as well, but you can see he's everywhere so far.
I mean, he might as well just go top side and just start dancing and be like, hey, all 3 lanes going to have some psychological or physical warfare coming from a Trundle. Kaz is going to have to, definitely go and jungle safely to level 6. This is the option from Trundle we don't see as much. Normally we see Trundle around the counter ganks, being very defensive. When you get the first blood, you don't give too many mundos about the enemy Sejuani.
Well, speaking of mundos, Sungyun is in a whole host of trouble. Gorilla looking for the auto attacks here as Prey is going to help pick it up. In the meantime, however, Kaz looking for Songwon to find the revenge already. BDD going down very low as Lava is in there, but he just blade surges his way out. They are going to have a gentleman's agreement, but already 1-1 at 3.5 minutes. It's a bloodthirsty game to start things off.
And BD tried to help Kaz out of that bad matchup, but used both his summoners and they don't get a kill. I believe the CC missed throughout the course of that. So kill in the bot lane, Prey and Gorilla getting a bit of an advantage. We haven't talked about the Shen and Swain duo too much, but it is again a return to these Shen lanes. I feel like Shen plus Mage has turned into this latest kill lane because you just underestimate what can happen, and specifically with Swain, where every CC your ally has is just that much more strong and that much more powerful. 3 points into the Shen means he taunts you, you get tugged even closer, and you have to deal with the dodge field to reduce damage any incoming trade. Expertly done by Kingzone, and they need that sort of a lead when the jungle's already in a rough spot.
Yeah, and Prey actually looking fantastic on this Swain to start things off as well. Teleports his way back in, didn't have quite enough for a catalyst, which is a little bit unfortunate. Blaming Gorilla for the kill steal, I think, for that one. But some control of the lane here for Hanwha Life, and it's going to be Prey waiting for that minion wave to get towards him. Top side of the map, it's going to be Linderung most of the time in exactly this position.
But you can see why the cost of BDD going for that collapse is even bigger than just his summoners being down. Because of that, he's already in a huge CS discrepancy for 5 minutes. We're talking 3 minion waves at 5 minutes to game. There isn't that many minion waves spawning by 5 minutes, but he tried to get in there, tried to jewel the Trundle. When his CC missed, there was never going to be a kill. Now he's no summoners against both summoners up on the Zoe, and already the sort of matchup where you have to show aggression, not just get poked down.
Sungyun, speaking of poke, he's going to cop a little bit of damage there, pulls out of the way of the Vision of Empire, but that's not the largest source of damage. Taking 20% of your own health bar is probably going to mean it's like you got hit by it anyway. But Songwon, he's still on his counter jungling method as Kaz.
He's 3 and a bit too. He's not even close to 4.
Waiting for this Rift Scuttler to come back up. It's going to be his first one as Songwon going well aggressive underneath this turret. He's trying to get out of the way his BDD, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Expertly controlled with the jungle, and Khan cannot teleport in time. Still looking for more as we have the bottom lane collapse, but it's everywhere. Gorilla has to try and taunt his way in, but it's a good black shield to avoid any of that damage. Linderung, he's going to turn up, and in fact, everyone's here that's alive. Dodgefield does, like you say, do some work, but Gorilla still going to suffer defeat. Khan trying to get more, but he's on 200 health, and he can't actually get there. Prey now is going to be the target, and Songwon is just so strong. Good bind, and goodbye, says Key.
Really well teamed by the skirmishing there and being able to disengage Khan at every moment. The kiting onto the Darius, clear to see. No dunks even come down, nothing channeled. We're going to watch the replay. It seems like Gorilla thinks he's going to cut the team of Hanwha Life Esports off, but they're out of position. Prey's on one side, the teleport from Linderung into the back line. There's just too many different things for Kingzone to respect and focus on, and they never get a single dunk. The reset party that Khan had in his mind never came true.
Yeah, it was so close to coming true, but this was a disaster for Prey at the end, and making sure that Hanwha Life certainly destroyed that last fight. Now, can BDD actually find something here? Does get some resets, but isn't going to be diving the Zoe that is so far ahead at the moment.
Lana support against the Shen and Swain. Outside of the 1 all-in we saw happen onto the Vladimir. Can be just so annoying to deal with. Shen versus ranged champions does struggle. Needs a lot of help from his duo laner. And early game Swain doesn't really do too much. Needs 9 points. 5 points in his Q, so level 9.
Yeah, even more now, right?
in order to get going. Yeah, the early levels are a bit more painful, so the cooldown much longer on the Death's Hand, the Force Lightning Q. And Sungwon already is having a party. He's had that control ward down forever, so he's certainly going to steal away the blue, and that's level 6, and probably the Ocean Drake to the Trundle.
It feels like 3/4 of the jungle belongs to Songwon, and has from the beginning of this game, is Cuz looking for another one. He's only level 4 on the Sejuani. Gets the flash in though, and they will be able to get the stun, but can they do even a modicum of enough damage? I'm not entirely sure, but there's the apprehend. That should be able to do it. Fantastic stopwatch, but I have a feeling that's going to be prolonging the inevitable because he gets that ult back, and that is going to be the kill secured on the top side. But in the mid lane, are we getting this one more time? Ultimate's going to fly through, gets the disarm onto Songwon, who's tanking the turret, but straight up does not care as they switch it over onto Lava, and it's another beautiful dive.
I believe the disarm didn't actually go onto Songwon. He certainly got hit by the ultimate, but didn't step over one of the blades and was able to make it happen. We'll need the replay to confirm that. But they're just going to whack away on this turret. Key's here. Mid lane, first brick comes through from Hanwha, and whatever good things happen topside, they're very quickly and summarily dismissed by Hanwha Life Esports.
And look, if they lose this game now, it will be the first time they've lost whilst picking up first brick, and it already is the first time that they've picked up the mid lane as their first turret of the game as well. So see whether we're going to have a new stat there as we have a look at it. Look, we can just be always complimented by the OGN stats team.
They've been on the ball today, showing Mad Life, showing the stats.
Yeah.
We've got the Psychic Link going on, as Khan is really happy about getting a kill. Linderong tried to play it as if he was dealing with a Skarner, where sometimes you can actually fizzle the Skarner ultimate by using a stasis effect. That doesn't work for Darius. He gets to dunk you afterwards, so just wasting the stopwatch, hoping that cooldowns wouldn't be up. They were, so goodbye. Goes Linderong. Does mean he's eminently diveable when we see level 6 hit on Cuz. Good news, he has it, so I think it's time to play around where you're strong, which for now is topside.
Certainly is, and it's certainly not in the jungle. 1-0-4 now for Songwon, 2-0-1 after Lava. Has been helped out with the camp on B2D, and once again, B2D is having a rough time on this Aurelia. I feel like they keep picking it and keep picking it, and yes, historically it has been good, but the last few times that he's picked it up, it has not been the best experience for the mid laner of King's Own.
To me, it's less about the pick and more about his decision-making. I think BDD traditionally has been fantastic at knowing when to go in and when not to commit. But this season, we're seeing him wear carries even more. Remember, before, Galio, Talia, roaming. Roaming, he's a star, we know that. But actually playing for himself, which Aurelia represents, has been a newer thing for BDD to develop. So I think keep having him play the Aurelia. He'll get his head around it. He's too talented not to. But for now, when he plays these champions, you can see the discrepancy in his play level, and he needs to develop that because the meta will not always allow roaming champions. I mean, back to MSI. If he didn't have his great Aurelia performances, a lot of the champions he played in spring were
That's definitely true. So the top side of the map, Linderong getting completely zoned. His wave is in absolutely the worst possible position for any top laner that's feeling behind and under pressure. So this is definitely where King's Own, like you say, are strong, but that does mean that Hanwha Life Esports are going to utilize that where they are strong, take down the Dragon on the bottom side to get that first one of the game.
Has been able to close the experience gap, so that's at least a little bit of good news for King's Own, but otherwise, it's a bit of disarray. We're going to see the only CS lead of relevance on the top side. That control ward is the most obvious turret dive ward. But speaking of turret dives, everyone's packing up and going somewhere, Atlas. Apparently it's vacation season.
Yeah, apparently Khan is going to have some trouble here on the top side as well. Exhaust comes down, but Trouble Bubble is going to land. The Paddle Star comes in, and Lava's going to pick up that kill with a 1-2 punch. All too easy, and now that turret is under fire. Only a few minions, so may not get it right here. But that is going to be revenge, finally, for Linderong.
Not a good use of the Shen ultimate either. He was always going to be dead in that scenario. The moment that the Trouble Bubble hit through the turret, there was no way that Shen ultimate 300 extra health was going to matter. Seen the counter roam bot side, but the tempo advantage from the level 2 kill by the Trundle has been only on the life of Hanwha Life Esports. Sang-Yun backs off. He's like, I'll just take some Krugs. It's fine to give up a bit of turret damage. You're not worried about Swain and Shen ripping through your turret.
No, they're doing the best they can, but yeah, you're right. Nothing really doing there. Still, it's a 26 CS lead here for Khan, but he just lost his tower. All of that control that he was boasting earlier on is not there, and now if they come and try and take him down, there's no turret to run back to, so he cannot move that far up the lane anymore. Songwon very easily takes down Shelly. He's going to be in his back pocket for use another time, but outer turrets are at a premium here for Hanwha Life. They've only got one more remaining.
Just 2 different series in a week. Kingzone have been a step behind their opponents. Griffin had their number easily. At the start of this week, you could tell on Tuesday that Griffin just knew what to expect from Peanut in particular and were able to just dismantle him. Even his Nidalee game in game number 2, he was out of sorts. And here we're seeing from the early ward that was turned into an easy kill on Cuz, feels like Seongwon has Cuz's number. Seongwon is one of our best early game junglers. That's where he really thrives, his early game, and is also his synergy with Linderang on the top side. And so far, Hanwha Life Esports have read Kingzone like a book to the tune of a 3,300 gold lead, and the top laning matchup of Mundo versus Darius ended by the top turret going down.
Exactly right, and you look at the compositions here and you feel really great as Hanwha Life moving into the later stages of the game. They've got the Vladimir, they've got the Mundo, even Trundle is fantastic. When there's a champion like a Sejuani there who is going to be getting really tanky, no one's really tanky when there's a Trundle on your team. They've got the Zoe there to boot, so it's Struggle Street here for Kingzone DragonX, and now Shelly is going to get to work on this last remaining outer turret, like we were talking about earlier on. Linderang's in trouble, the ult flies down as Khan gets himself a flash. Thankfully, the sadism going to be enough, and the passive not going to take down the Mundo, but on the bottom side, certainly a win for Hanwha.
3-0 in terms of the turrets being taken. And that's a pretty big problem for the side of Kingzone. When you're talking about late game, I agree with you. There's a lot of good tools on the side of Hanwha Life. But to me, the difference is Zoe a threat and is Zoe not a threat when it comes to late game? Because otherwise, Kingzone gets their items, piles into basically melee range and make good things happen. I think there is a tipping point for Kingzone, but it's very unlikely to come true because Zoe is already the benefactor of a big bounty of early game kills, 3-0 and 1. And the time that Kingzone needs in order to hit relevant items, to be able to ignore paddle stars and the map control, to not just get flanked by a Vladimir, those are things that right now, with the first 15 minutes going the way they did, it's looking tricky for Kingzone to set up.
Yeah. See whether they can get there. 4,000 gold is the approaching lead. This Trouble Bubble very close to landing on the Cuz. Does get a lot of damage in there with the help of his dash cannon.
No electrocute on Lava for the bonus burst that seems to one rotation people easier. This is going to be the choice versus melees. Honestly, in solo lanes, when you're range versus melee, it's almost always correct to go into Summoner Aerie for more reliable harass on auto attacks and spells.
Yep. Well, Prey down here without a turret does need to make sure that there are people around to keep him alive, even though it is just a 1v1 with Songyun.
And we need to be sure 400 games in whether Prey can pull off Swain in team fights. We've seen a couple of Swain bot lanes who just didn't really shoulder initiation in the way they needed to. You can say for Prey that, especially on the Longzhu days, I think of spring when the team was struggling, it was if Prey initiates, they win. If they don't have Prey to initiate, they've just straight up lost. It's Ashe and Varus were the 2 big picks then. It's still a bit different to be a champion that needs to get very down and dirty. It needs to get in there in pretty short range. So we'll wait and see. May not be relevant if Hanwha Life keeps snowballing. Everyone coming together and coalescing in high damage dealt overall for the side of Hanwha Life. Curiously, the only person who hasn't been able to join is the Vladimir. He'll get in there later.
He certainly will. He certainly will. I just want to sort of piggyback on your point there as well based on Prey, because I think a lot of why we've seen a lot of these AD carries struggling with the engage is because they don't necessarily have the mind for it. They've never had to have the mind for it, whereas Prey, he always has. He always has been sort of the older player on the team that knows when to start a fight, why to start a fight. So I think that that really does help him out with that particular question.
And I agree with you on the champions that he usually plays, but does he know all the damage calculations of a full stack Demon Flare? Does he know when to go in and how tanky he is in every scenario? Swain, the answer is no. There's no way he can know every permutation. You know he knows every permutation of every build of Ashe and Varus, and that's where the doubt comes in, because I agree, Prey is the initiating AD carry. If you had to have one, put him in the dictionary, it's going to be Prey. But in this scenario where they're behind on Swain, where he's done decently but not outstanding, there's other variables up in the air.
Yeah. Well, only one way to find out as we approach 20 minutes into this game. It's going to be Hanwha Life Esports continuing down this Drake removal. Vision of Empire is going to spot it, but that is not going to do anything. They are going to be able to snap that one up. So an Ocean and an Infernal over the side of Hanwha, and Cuz just wandering around, trying to find somewhere to return to relevance. He has caught back up when it comes to farm.
Linderang's, you know, in the dog matchup, so he's down plenty of CS, but
Yeah.
if he keeps getting Giants belts, eventually it doesn't matter. Now, Darius can also turn around a losing game. A Freak of Freaks versus MVP yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Where-
Keen certainly showed us that.
Yeah, Keen was the most down. He was totally obliterated in lane, but one triple kill in a team fight later, good things happened. The team fight dream is certainly alive. Kingzone have a team fight comp, so wait and see what can happen there, but the gold lead may be grown as that's a lot of control wards.
Yep. And they do kill one, though, as there's a trouble bubble. Lava wants to be able to pop that in there. Binding not going to land, though, and that's just a bit of the health bar of Khan. But I have a feeling with this control ward investment, they know that no one can see that Brambleback going down. Trouble bubble misses. Kingzone are in position to try and fight for this inner turret, which is exactly where Hanwha Life are. Gorilla turns up first. Will take a bit of damage here, but can they actually clear out the minion wave is the question. Khan going to turn back up, making this one a 4v4. BDD wants this fight, but he has to flash out of the way when that paddle star comes in. Sungyun now in with the flank. Can he get there at the right time, or will they just secure the turret? I think the answer is neither as they run out of minions.
Sungyun was considering the dive. Probably smart not to fully engage. One of the few ways it could actually turn this game around was a similar play like we saw from MVP yesterday, throwing a lead in this scenario against the Darius. But you know why you make this play, Atlas? Because the only real wave clear is the Swain Q. There's really nothing else on this team. And Swain isn't even topside, so sieging inner turrets at 19 minutes against any conventional comp is a big no-no. Against this comp, a reliable option for Hanwha Life Esports.
Yeah. And Prey actually moved to the mid lane there as well, going to continue this 1v1 against Sungyun. Thankfully, Gorilla and BDD are down here to lend a hand as well, but that tower still remains standing. 3 turrets to 0 in favor of Hanwha Life still. And we've got a couple of Trinity forces coming in here for Kingzone. They'll find a time to fight.
They're not really any closer to getting a turret. Sure, there's turret damage in lanes, but getting the sort of vision that you need to fully walk up to a turret and commit means you need to know where the enemy is, where they are on the map at camps, that they're not doing the Baron, which spawns in 15 seconds. And right now, you can see the only triangle of vision they have is around their own red side jungle, and they don't even fully control that. So in terms of map control, Kingzone have very, very little. That means that for now, standing gold is going to be impossible for them to collect, and if they had been able to collect it, it would actually answer a lot of the gold lead for Hanwha Life Esports.
Yeah, and talking of gold lead, it is only going to be 3,000 gold still. Hasn't changed for about 10 minutes, so Kingzone have at least been able to steady the ship, stop falling further behind.
Kingzone need to find a way to get map control and then 1-3-1, because they still do have Aurelia Darius as side laners, and Zoe has nowhere to go if a 1-3-1 can be created. Hanwha Life Esports just say, we walk through control wards and siege with Zoe, and that's somewhere where Kingzone will be very frustrated.
Yeah, now they do have Prey, but there was no health on that turret, so inner turret just going to be brute forced. Here by Hanwha Life, continuing to build that lead.
Aurelia's by Morgana just to help with the speed of the rotation to mid lane, because the minion wave is coming up. We're not going to be able to pick that one up.
I like it for keeping in range of the Soul Shackles as well, so not a bad move. And speeding up your Vladimir feels good. But here's the first turret. And it was in the split push like you were talking about. The Darius, certainly the strongest member of this team, able to take that one down.
Seeing Hanwha Life continue to walk up. Again, the wave clear we mentioned is still a problem for Kingzone. Kingzone can only engage to break this. Khan will do damage, but doesn't have kill threat onto the Mundo, you'd say, at this point.
Unless he does still have that ultimate available, and when the sadism wears out, there will be certainly a moment where he could threaten. You're right, doesn't feel too easy.
And we're running closer moments, because what happens when Warmogs comes in is the first rotation, he ults, the second rotation, he has Warmogs, and you just never actually kill the Mundo. So, timer there.
Yep. Well, they're going to go for this dive as Gorilla takes a lot of damage, but does save himself with that Spirit's Refuge. But look at this, they just focus the turret and take this one down. They're sieging so well with a composition that doesn't scream to you, we can siege super well.
But the enemy team is so poor against siege that they actually do have the equivalent of a great siege comp. They are definitely playing this game correctly, because they're saying to Kingzone, we're going to walk up to inner turrets at 19 minutes. Usually that means an initiation, and Kingzone have a very strong teamfight comp. But Kingzone don't have the items, and they are behind in gold. They know that if they actually lose a teamfight, the game could be close to over. They lose an inhibitor turret and a Baron. The Baron comes up, and their wave clear was already an issue pre-Baron. That might just be the end of the game for Kingzone. So Hanwha Life Esports keeping up the pressure. Teams have struggled with this in the LCK. We saw our bottom teams yesterday be unable to convert on good early games. Hanwha Life Esports, again, separating themselves from the bottom of the table, showing why they are one of the contenders for playoffs.
Yeah, and also demonstrating it in the items that they picked up as well. That Warmogs you were talking about, now in for Linderung. You've got the Luden's Echo as well as Morellonomicon done for Lava, and he's very close to getting that Zhonya's Hourglass, so that stopwatch will repair itself if he does have to use it before that one does come in. And Rabadon's Deathcap plus the Spellbinder as well coming in for Sangyun. This is real scary now for Kingzone.
Really interesting interaction that we saw that may not be relevant to this game is we saw, I believe it was Fly, Zhonya's twice in a team fight. And the mechanic there is if you have the stopwatch from Runes and then buy a Zhonya's straight up, i.e. don't buy the second stopwatch, you can actually use both independently in a team fight.
Huh.
Fun fact for the viewers at home.
That's interesting.
It's because the one from Runes is classified as a different item.
Okay. Well, we'll see whether that does actually play a part in this particular game. There's already been a lot of going golden on this patch. People really enjoying the stopwatches. So
they definitely are. It is back in the meta for sure, and we're only going to see more of them on 8.13.
Yeah. Well, still a couple of them here for the bottom lane of Kingzone do remain. There's just the one for Lava on the side of Hanwha Life. Kingzone now. Group of 4, and there's Cuz getting caught out. Hemoplay going to come down as well, but it's only on a couple of the tanks. Ultimate going to go wide from BDD, which could be huge as Prey running away with his ultimate up. He might have to sacrifice himself here as Khan finally does turn up to this battle, but it's 5 versus 5, and they've taken a lot of damage. Khan now running out, and he's going to explode. Songwon going to pick up that kill as Prey, getting himself away from the fight, but he does have the flash, but is he just going to die? And he is. Not going to invest it. Knew that if he jumped into that Dragon Pit, he was still dead. Hanwha Life, they're going to grab a couple of kills and lose no one.
Pretty poor team fight from Kingzone. Khan walked up first as the Darius, and even after the apprehend, he should have known that he was very, very susceptible to being turned on. He's squishy, doesn't have a lot of items. He goes down, and Prey says, well, if I flash, I'm still dead. So, just not to use the Summoner. Kaz is going to make the worst trade you could ever make, a 25-minute Ocean Drake for the Baron. But they can't contest the Baron, so Baron to the side of Hanwha eventually. Maybe an inner turret for Aurelia as a little bit of a sweetener for Kingzone.
Yeah, it's, you know, the consolation prize that you don't really feel very good about, as Baron is certainly going to be taken here. 2-0-6 now for Songwon, 100% kill contribution. Takes down the Baron for them as well. It's just an incredible performance on this Trundle.
Now it's only a teamfight super play from Kingzone or they lose because the Baron buff makes their sieging problems even bigger. Watch the replay. Prey's in the front, obviously tanky, but when BDD misses his ult, they only really have Sejuani ult as a turn tool. That's why I'm really curious about Khan's decision. He walks in late after everything is down, including the ultimate from the Swain, and he just gets turned on and dies. Like, I don't understand why he's going that far forward. The rest of the team was doing their best to disengage. Maybe Prey would have died regardless, but they give away a double kill, a Baron, from just some poor teamfight execution from Kingzone.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit of miscommunication as well, as at least Prey did manage to do a lot of damage. But that's not what they need right now. They need to actually win these fights. And if you do a lot of damage to Linderung, he's just not going to care.
Honestly, both teams are about the damage, and there is a lot more on the side of Hanwha Life than there is on the side of Kingzone. So only a super play, only amazing and immaculate execution to me is a way to get back in because of that item disadvantage. And Hanwha Life, once again being clean as their performance against MVP, I would say,
yeah,
in terms of how they played this one out. And now they're looking to break the base.
Yeah, and they're going to do so extraordinarily fast. Look at those chunks as now the inhibitor will fall. Darius making his way back because they're scared that Hanwha Life are just going to win the game off this push.
They can certainly dive.
Yep, never move, not going to land as the binding is dodged by Prey. Now Kingzone with 5 members are going to be able to stave off the push, but it's only going to get harder and harder from here as there's more money in the back pockets of Hanwha Life and still a minute and a half of that Baron.
They have all the options, Atlas. They could have chosen for a dive. They have Mundo, they have Vlad, they have many ways to tank and also reset aggro. They have a huge gold lead. Probably unnecessary. Now they catch Khan.
Yep, Songwon by himself is still a force to be reckoned with as that Trouble Bubble went for a long way because using that ult just to try and stop the engage is definitely not what you want as the Sejuani demonstrating the hard times that Kingzone are going through now. Another inhibitor turret under fire. Inhibitor sure to go down after this. It just doesn't feel like there are many options for Kingzone. Sitting underneath this turret, B2D wants to fight this one out again. He does have the ult, as Cuz has to get himself the hell out of the way. Good never move, but it's onto Linderung, and he straight up doesn't care. The sadism comes in, ultimate going to land here from B2D this time, and he still hasn't taken any relevant damage. Sangyu comes in with the ultimate, and Gorilla and Cuz, they're going to explode. Good stopwatch saves Gorilla, but for how long is the question. Praise Gold in the middle of the fight, but he's still going to go down. It's Sangyu that's just getting most of these, doing all the damage, and Lava doesn't even fall. Are they immortal? What's happening? B2D proves that it's no, but that's going to still be the near ace as Gorilla has to watch on in horror.
And Hanwha Life going for the end. They will win the game here. Dominant game one from Hanwha Life Esports ever since they put down the ward and converted it into a kill for the Trundle. They've run this game, and Kingzone have watched on in horror as the 400th game for Prey will be a